have fun. Business people, lots of ideas. You need some advice, come right here. Dreams with leaders is here.
Scott, are you there? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Julie's killing it with the fall decor.
You know, it's just she's got this table. I just knocked it over, but
drop it off.
It's like she always has decor on the table. So yeah, I have a very festive wife that loves to decorate.
Pre-Julie, did you ever have decor anywhere in your house?
No, there's like I think I got a box spring when I graduated college. That was like the decor. The mattress went from like the floor. Yeah, it was like, hey, you came to have a good time with me and my roommates, and we would we spent you had the big screen TV but no decor.
That's hilarious. How you been? I haven't talked to you all week. I feel like.
Oh, doing wonderful. I love. It stinks that we don't get together as much in person, but I love the fact that we can do so many meetings and be so productive online. Like, I hear a lot of our guests will watch this show in the background while they're working on things.
Yeah, I do that all the time. Do you watch shows in the background while you work on stuff?
I can't. I can't multitask. I have horrible ADD, and so I have to focus. But Randy Powell's show is one where I hear a lot of people will multitask in the background. So, I don't know. Hopefully our guests probably do that really well.
Randy Powell and I went to lunch on Friday, and he showed up with one of those huge boxes of the nothing but cakes, the little ones. Yep. And thank God it was the end of my hard 75 because that was delicious. It was wonderful. He's a great guy. I listen to his show on the background a lot.
No, absolutely. I was recently on a show with Bob Berg of The Go-Giver, and I think that's the luckiest thing that's happened to me all year, besides Bank of Blue Valley. Oh, there it is. But yeah, I think I was the filler in case Bob Berg needed to leave early, and he knew that I was low maintenance and like that I'd be cool like if I was like the second option, which I was totally cool with, and it was really cool, because same reason why I'm on the show with you. You're so well known and you have so many followers. I always just feel lucky to be a part of it, and our guests actually are a mix as well of executives and really well known people. So excited to talk about that. But do you want me to talk about Bank of Blue Valley?
I do want you to talk about Bank of Blue Valley, and I'm going to pull up the link while you talk about it.
So Bank of Blue Valley is actually one of the top 5 largest banking institutions in our city. And when it came to PPP loans, they're one of the best resources for their clients and for their partners. And we're just so thankful to be working with them. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to be talking to our partners, Sean and Felicia, about doing a Wendy Reynolds question, who is the CEO, just ultimate baller. And Aaron has a big crush on Wendy. And so it's awesome. Wendy is just a phenomenal leader and someone we're really proud to be associated with. But before any more, because I'm sure we're going to talk about Bank of Blue Valley a lot more throughout the show, you ready for some music and some introductions?
Yes. Go to this link if you're looking for a new job, a new career. They are currently hiring. So awesome. Yes, but I want to say real quick, let us know if you are watching. Let us know who you're here to see. And let us know if you're watching on Facebook or LinkedIn and live or the replay. I kind of like to see who all jumps in. That's the most fun part about this, right? Like when you go watch a video, if you can't say hello to everybody, you and I both talk about networking all the time. So I love the networking that happens over here in the comments. So let us know if you're there. We're super excited. You really today, you got most of these guests on here. I've only met one of them in person before. So we're going to have you do the introductions and I will be the DJ. Are you ready? Okay, let me get my music going.
Ooh, starting off our first guest. And he's going to explain to us about this drink, Adam Miller. St. Cam, it's so easy to get to. Number 2, Amy Dolan. I like how I'm confusing Aaron on who I'm going to do next. Third, Jenna Henderson. And a gentleman that you think is not as tall, but when you meet him in real life, he's really tall, Kenealy.
Hold on, I got to fade the music like a real DJ. Oh. Hello. So this is the first panel in a long time that said we're really drinking, right? So cheers.
Cheers.
Way to go, Jenna, with a bottled water.
And nobody knows what mine is.
It's a surprise. Well, let me jump in here really quick. We've got a lot of people over here watching. Super excited. Hey, Daniel. Daniel's been on our show, and Delvon, we need to get you on here. We got Miss Deborah. I've got all sorts of people over here. And sometimes I can't show because you have super secret privacy rights on your LinkedIn, your Facebook. So if I don't show your comment, that's why. Go check your privacy rights. So thank you all so much for coming on. I am so excited. I love meeting. I like to call you Scott's friends. We always have Aaron and Scott's friends. We're in pretty different circles. So they're starting to merge, but it's been really fun. Don't you think?
Well, that's the whole reason why we have the #1 LinkedIn live show is because our groups are completely different, but yet also very fun. And so I think that's the secret sauce. And the person you highlighted is Cheryl Cooper, who is an executive at Sprint. And so she'd be a really good guest to have on the show. She does a lot of great things here in town. But Aaron, do you want me to ask the first couple of questions, or do you want to start off by asking Adam a question?
Well, how about you handle the second one? Because then you can jump in with all the facts that you know about everybody, which is always so fun. But let's just start with this. Let's start really easily. Adam, tell us who you are, what you do, and how you got here.
Oh, man. I think Scott just ran out of cool people to bring on. And so he brought me as kind of like the last resort. But I'm happy to be here nonetheless.
Yeah, right.
How's it going, everybody? My name is Adam Miller. I am the Director of Diversity and Inclusion for Barkley, an ad agency based out of Kansas City area, but has offices across the country. And so I handle all their DEI and B efforts to make sure that we're being inclusive and creating an inclusive space for people in the advertising and marketing industry. I am also a co-owner of the AV Collection, and our first flagship item in the AV Collection, which is a virtual winery, is KC Mac. Got a little jazz nod to this. There's a music theme, jazz theme wine in a can, sparkling wine in a can. It's a rosé, and the one that me and Scott are drinking today. We also have a sparkling blanc. What's cool about our company is that we lead with giving back to the community. And so proceeds from every 4-pack sold, a portion of those proceeds go towards the Harmony Project Kansas City, which preserves music programs in the urban core of the city. So make sure that kids are having a creative outlet, being able to express themselves, and again, just helping to become full, well-rounded citizens and people. So that's a little bit about me, and happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
And Mr. Dan Hillble over here says Adam never brings any enthusiasm to anything he does.
This man with the sarcasm. Come on in here, Dan.
Dan's got his Big Brothers Big Sisters Most Wanted picture.
I see that. You look
I
good,
think he's
man.
having a tough time, because he's about to have to turn over his trophy and his crown to a new winner here soon.
Ooh.
I think he's having a tough time. So we do have a Big Brothers Big Sisters show coming up in a couple of weeks, so we can dive into more of that. And I think Dan's going to actually be on that show.
Love it.
So, all right. How about Amy? How about you tell us who you are, where you come from, and how you end up here today? What you do?
Oh, there's just so much, but I'll condense it, I swear. So I'm Amy Dolan. I'm a new business consultant for LightEdge Solutions. We're a data center and private cloud provider. I actually just started working here back in May. So I'm a newbie at LightEdge, but I've been in Kansas City for several years, since 2007. I'm originally from Wisconsin and moved down here because my ex had a job opportunity, and I've been here ever since. So I was in software IT sales for a long time, and when COVID happened, I was laid off, and it was kind of a blessing in disguise. So LightEdge and I found each other, and it's been a great partnership ever since.
I like how you say that. LightEdge and I found each other. I like that. More people should say it like that.
Yeah, it was good.
How about you, Jenna?
Hey everyone, I'm Jenna Henderson. I'm the Vice President of Human Resources and EEO Officer for Superior Bowen. It's a asphalt paver and producer in Kansas City, and I had never heard of Superior Bowen until I started working there in 2018, and we've grown significantly. We're down in the crossroads now, loving our new space off of 520 West Penn. So love it down here in KC. I'm a KC native. Been in HR for over 15 years, and I'm crazy enough that I love it so much. I do my own HR consulting on the side on top of my regular full-time plus job at Superior Bowen and Companies. So it's been a crazy year with COVID, but I got to meet Scott through the 40 under 40 through Ingrams, and we've become fast friends, and appreciate you guys having me on here today. Looking forward to this.
You and I need to spend some time together, so maybe I can just like HR just a tiny bit. I'm probably gonna be a nightmare for you, to tell you the truth.
Well, I won't tell you what's in my water bottle.
Bring that water bottle when you come. All right, Jared, you and I became friends during COVID, and to Scott's point earlier, when we finally met in person, I'm pretty short. You're pretty tall, so it was kind of interesting, right? Tell us who you are, and what you do, and how you got here.
Yeah, I'm Jared Kenealy. I'm the Chief Development Officer for Asset Management Group. We're a real estate investment firm that specializes in the property management side of things around all things commercial real estate. Found myself there about 3 years ago through that classic and really, what I now firmly believe in, but just the right people putting my name on their lips, and the COO and CFO were acquaintances of mine and college friends. And so I ended up in a pretty cool opportunity, and I now represent a real estate firm and help us grow our business in any way, shape, and form.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'5", 6'6", depending on who you ask.
And I'm all of 5'2" on a good day. So
my wife is 5'1", so I get told I wasted the tall a lot by my 6-foot sisters.
The tall girls get mad when you tall boys date us small girls. They don't like it at all. All right, Scott, why don't you take the next question?
So we're going to go reverse background, but we're going to start with Jared. Jared, what was your life prior to business? And then secondly, you work with a private club, Arrived Outdoors, and what are the benefits of being a part of that organization and all the great things you do to create community in Kansas City?
Yeah, so I'll start with the first one. I actually was a teacher for the first 11 years of my adult life.
And a coach.
Say that again.
And a coach.
And a coach, yeah. So, I was a teacher and a coach, and I was very much a teacher to be a coach. I believe sports to be transformational and coaching to give you a voice into young people's lives in a certain way that you just can't really recreate in a lot of ways. And teaching did the same, but even in that world, coaching gave you a little more of a voice. I chased my passion for 11 years, and my wife and I got married, and we were teachers for life. And then we started having children. And she stayed home because her paycheck was covering for childcare. And then I started to see a little bit of it getting tight, and had a really cool moment 3 years ago where I had a chance to either change schools because I got offered a couple gigs. And so I reached out into the business world and said, hey, what else is out there? And I couldn't be happier for it. I absolutely love education. I was not one of those sour teachers who left education for any reason other than it was an opportunity to kind of do what's next for my family. Completely a passion. And that's actually how I connected with Adam a long time ago. And then to Arrived Outdoors. Arrived Outdoors is a social club built on hunting, fishing, and adventure for C-level executives and people around Kansas City. So we do trips and have a clubhouse and have a bunch of stuff. And it's built around the idea that when you do something hard and unique, and you've really expended a lot of energy, or you've stretched yourself, and then you sit around a fire or around a dinner table afterwards, friendships and bonds are formed that turn into great things and make you better parents, make you better business leaders, make you all that stuff. And that's where Arrived Outdoors came from.
Nice. And 3 fun facts before I get to Jenna is that if you want to know anything whiskey, you are a very educated buyer and purchaser and consumer, and also cigars. And you are also in 40 under 40 for Ingrams. Jenna, one thing that people don't realize is the growth that Superior Bowen's been on. And so can you talk about where you were when you joined the company and where you are today? And then secondly, what does a typical client look like in your HR consulting business?
Sure. So when I joined Superior Bowen back in 2018, they had never had an HR person. They had subbed out some of the roles. They did what they did to get by. And so they brought me on to build this full service HR department, all of the family companies that they have. And so we have a little over 700 total employees between all the family companies. We now have a full service HR team. I have 2 people that work underneath me. So there's 3 of us supporting about 700 people. And in a normal HR world, you have 1 person per 50 to 100 people. So we move quick, but we're covering a lot of ground. Love what we do, but we have recently acquired O'Donnell & Sons Construction. We did that right at the end of last year, right before the whole pandemic and everything happened. Glad that timing worked out well. Brought about 200 of those folks over to join us, and so Superior Bowen has really taken off. We do a lot of DOT contracts in KC. And Inspired Homes, CMTG, Pink Hill, Bowen Construction, some of their smaller companies are also doing really well. Full service HR now, handbook, policies, HRIS, the whole 9. So we feel pretty good about the progress we've made in less than it's really been about 2.5 years now.
Yeah, you're such a, I wanted to say a curse word. I was going to say BA. But you're such a rock star that your organization is that huge and you're able to create projects on the side. I work with a lot of people in your space, and that's very rare, but speaks to a credit of how you get things done and how you work and the team that you've built around you. Amy, we're not going to ask the question about a recent winter success. Aaron's going to do that on this next round of questions. But for you, you are phenomenal at connecting, and you're phenomenal at connecting at a high level. And what I mean by that is you connect with some of the biggest companies in Kansas City, which is a totally unique sale. I think, folks like Adam and Jenna and Aaron and Jared and I we connect a lot in the small to middle market, but you're working a lot in the large market. So for you, why are you successful at that? And maybe what are some tips for the audience if they're trying to swim upstream? How do you connect at that Hiva level to those large executives?
Well, first of all, thank you. You're making me blush, Scott. I don't know. I think we forget sometimes that everyone's a human being, right? It doesn't matter what company that they work for. They still have normal conversations like you and I do. And so what's wrong with reaching out to them just to see if they're willing to connect? And you never know, like a lot of times I run into a lot of opportunities where I can help them out, but I don't know that up front. So just, having the guts to just ask them, hey, do you want to meet for coffee? I just love expanding my network and I love getting to know people, and there's no pressure whatsoever. It's just 2 people having a conversation, and it could be about anything. It doesn't even have to be about business. That's as easy and simplistic as I can put it. And I think that we just overthink things too much.
Yeah, well, we'll get back to you about the question about recent success, because I know you just had one last month. Adam, lots of questions here, so I'll break them down. 1, tell everyone what you did prior to your new role. 2, tell us about your new role. And 3, on the consulting side, which I know is something that Aaron, Jared, and Jenna do, they consult outside their core businesses as well. Are you going to consult on diversity and inclusion? So what did you do prior? What do you do today? Are you going to do consulting?
And I have a 4th question. And you call it, are you at D&I or DE&I? Okay.
So it's a lot of questions there. All 4. I'm gonna go in the proper order in which they were given to me. Order of operations, first teacher move that I learned. Previously worked for Teach for America for the past 4.5 years as the director of the Green Fellowship. In a nutshell, what that program did was essentially reappraise the field of education. We wanted to change that narrative from, oh, you're a teacher, to like, oh, you're a teacher, and actually put value behind that. And the way we did that was not just in the sense of like finances, which was helping them out with, a $10,000 stipend in addition to their salary benefits that they get at their partner school, but also connecting them with leaders like yourselves. A lot of my job is predicated off of having a robust network, not just in Kansas City, but more broadly in the national community as well. So that in the event, if a teacher wanted to connect with someone like Quentin Lucas or Gwendolyn Grant, CEO of the Urban League, like they had a quick access to that person and were able to expand their network so that they get a seat at the table with decision makers that impact their work on a day-to-day basis. In addition to that, they also learned within a framework called Learning from Leaders, problem-solving strategy, when leaders would come in and posit a dilemma that they're currently going through in which they've not been able to identify a solution. And so our teachers would come together in small groups and devise plans of actions to address those specific dilemmas that those leaders were going through. And so the leaders benefited from the collective genius of a space of really intentional leaders converging on a central topic. And then the teachers themselves benefited from, again, amplifying their network and being able to step into the shoes of a leader from a wide swath of industries to help them uplift and enhance their problem-solving strategy abilities. What I do currently within Barkley is, I started about a week and a half ago, so it's still very new. A lot of it is onboarding.
You're a veteran.
Oh, what was that?
You're a veteran. You've been there forever.
I'm a veteran. Yeah, 1 week you're a veteran at this. It's like dog
in
years.
agency world, I feel like you are.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like anything in the COVID age is like you multiply it times 7, and that's how long you've been there. So really, I've been at Barkley now for 27 years. And about to retire, I think. But no, in essence, what I'm doing is trying to enhance the already rich culture at Barkley and create diverse inroads, not just across lines of difference that are more salient, like Black, white, Hispanic, Latino, et cetera, but also ability, orientation, religious belief, et cetera. When I think about diversity, and I hope that the intention behind that is that everyone within the broader enterprise of Barkley looks at it holistically, that it's not just those features that you can see, but also the invisible features of diversity, and creating not just retention, but also just like the space where people can feel comfortable bringing their whole self to the space. It's our ideology that when you allow people to bring their full authentic self to a space, that's where creativity can happen. That's where comfort can happen. And that's where relationship building can really be edified in those spaces. And that's going to make tangible results that allow us to do better work as an enterprise and as a family. So that's what I do with Barkley. As far as consulting is concerned, hey, I'm on target. I got one more after this one. And I'm definitely open to helping any and everyone around DEI work. And to harken back to your question, Ms. Fulk, around like, is it DEI, is it DNI? There's a lot of acronyms with that, right? So diversity and inclusion is technically within my title, but we also believe in diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. We feel like that last piece around belonging really just puts a nice, neat bow on everything to make sure that everybody's feeling included in that space. And so it's not enough to just make it an inclusive space, but also to take it a step further and make people feel like they belong in a space, which is a different kind of intention.
I like that.
Aaron, do you want to go ahead with our other question that we love asking our guests to promote their successes and wins?
Yeah, but I want to highlight some of these comments too and start asking your questions. We're already almost at half the time. How did that happen so quickly? Essentially, Jared Chase is saying his beard's about to catch up with you. Also another up there. Chase Kaufman.
He's got one. That's a LinkedIn picture.
Need to get more current here.
Adam Delvon, I don't know if you've had a chance to meet him, but he's a great guy and he loves that you guys are doing all of that. And then Casey Wright says, good work to all his buddies.
Got some great time
today. And then Cheryl Cooper wants to make sure that we all know she is here for you, Scott. She is here for you.
Dude, Cheryl's awesome.
I mean, Cheryl brought me in to speak to Sprint last year, but she's here for you. I thought we were friends.
Oh, yeah, Cheryl. Way to go. So you know Cheryl.
I love Cheryl. Cheryl's doing some really good work with children and teaching coding and stuff like that too in the city. So she's doing some amazing things. So let's kind of jumble it all up and we'll go to you, Jenna. Talk to us about a recent win and that you guys have experienced recently.
Well, one of the biggest recent wins that I've had, and Scott can attest to this, is, a lot of people have been displaced, lost their jobs and are suffering from the different effects from the pandemic. So I've worked just some late night hours trying to make connections with people, having, virtual conversations, coffees, social distance coffees, just trying to get people connected with one another, help them. I've redesigned some resumes for people, done some mock interviews, just try to show support. Not everybody can get in front of an HR professional and, run some things past them. So I've tried to donate my time, and I think that's really a win for not only my consulting company that I've, got to do some work on that side, also for Superior Bowen and companies, just making some connections there, and then just the people in KC, just trying to give back to the community, to keep people here, to get them back into the jobs. And I've just done my best with that. And, at the end of the day, it feels really good to try to help. And I'm always open to connecting to anybody. So anybody out there, if you have questions or you want to chat, feel free to reach out.
Listen, usually HR people aren't as strong with their call to actions. I'm really impressed.
And one quick thing, Aaron highlighted Casey Wright earlier. Please feel free to click on him and his company, Chief of Staff. They do a lot of really good work placing people, but good point, Jenna. I mean, it kind of takes an army right now during COVID to make sure that we're connecting people. A lot of people just don't realize there's lots of opportunities out there. They just may not have the network to connect them.
I posted a job yesterday, and we received close to 70 resumes in less than a day, and two connected with me on LinkedIn, which I found very surprising, right? Over 70 local resumes, and 2 connected with me on LinkedIn. So yeah, so they need to talk to you. All right. We're all sitting on the edges of our seats, Amy, after Scott teased it a little bit. What is your big win recently?
Well, I was actually not going to talk about that at first because in my opinion, my win was just, like I said, Light Edge and I found each other, but it was just so cool that, they came out and started hiring a ton of people like right during COVID, which I think says a lot about a company. And then right when I started, it was like all this teamwork that we had going on. And I'm like, oh, I'm sure it's just the honeymoon phase type of thing, right? That'll phase out. And, but I still felt like I was winning, and I still do now, because then talking about this win that I'm going to tell you about, it was all teamwork. Like this opportunity presented itself like week number 2 when I was employed. And in my mind, it's like, I didn't really do anything yet to get it, right? Because I didn't really know anything about what we really truly did, other than high level stuff. Like, so we work with a lot of financial institutions, anyone in healthcare, anybody that's regulated. We've got a lot of compliance that backs us up. So I'll get a little technical here, but we're SOC 1, 2, 3 type 2 compliant, and federal or financial institutions love that, right? So I know that, but anyway, so they brought me into this opportunity. I'm learning along the way, and I don't really contribute a whole heck of a lot other than maybe coordinating some meetings and everything. And I find out that this customer used to be a customer of ours too. So again, someone else could have really taken this deal, right, and not given it to me. So that goes back to all that teamwork that I'm talking about. But anyway, so these 2 gentlemen that used to work for another financial institution moved over here at this wealth management group, and they wanted to basically do the same thing that they did before in their previous position. And their big thing was that they had their servers in a new building that was was all in glass. So they're living in a glass house basically, and they have this important data on these servers, and they need to move them out into our facility that's 150 feet underground over by Worlds of Fun there in the caves, in what I call the Bat Caves. So on top of our compliance and also being underground, and they worked with us before, it was a great win, and we had a great learning experience from my end, and just me seeing how much teamwork that we had, making the whole opportunity come to a close. So that's my little success story. But I'm sticking to it.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I love the teamwork idea. Do you office over by Worlds of Fun as well?
No, not really. I mean, we have a conference center over there, a couple conference centers, so I'll go there and we'll give tours, but our offices are actually in the Edison space over in Overland Park.
Oh, okay. I just didn't know if you like ran through and rode the Orient Express or something on your way home from work. No,
not yet, but that's a good idea. Next time.
Yeah, well, you don't have to wear a mask maybe in a couple of years.
Right.
Jared, talk about your recent win, and then also talk a little bit about how you brought people together during COVID. And you still are. Your team still is, really. Jared, you're on mute. It's the new slogan of 2020.
Well, I think I have loud noises behind me, but recent win for me. I kind of play matchmaker. We're a property management firm and a real estate investment firm, and we've locked up some significant capital raises and got some good real estate, which that's my main job, and that's good. But it's always fun when you meet new people that you're going to third party manage for, because it's a long haul. There's not like, this isn't transactional. I'm now going to be dug into a trench with these people for the next, hopefully 5 to 10 years as they perform their asset. And I fell in love with a group that they think the way we think, and they are excited about what we're excited about. And, when you're on the sales cycle and you meet someone who just really jives with everything and no one's really, it gives you energy. So now you're calling everybody with way more energy. And we just had a recent one where, we met people that are just, man, they couldn't be more lock in step with who we are. And so it just fired me up and made me, want to become best friends with the next 10 calls too. So that's what I would call as a recent win. To COVID, I love doing this. I love talking to people and I love connecting. And I knew very quickly, because really COVID happened right at the start of the Big 12 tournament, which is like my all-time favorite time of the year. And so I was like, oh my God, that's like where I get my people fix. Like, it's like a drug. Like, what am I going to do? And so I had to come up with something. So I kind of made a digital bar that essentially is very similar to this. Only you guys have a much better format of organization and structure. But I was just, I called it Clueless Conversations, and we got together every single day at 4 o'clock. And I had someone who was smarter than me about something, and I asked them dumb questions, and then we just hung out and drank. And it worked we did it for 5.5 weeks. And then when COVID's rules started to kind of slowly go away, and I'll be honest, I'm a great starter. I'm a terrible finisher. That's why I'm probably a really good salesperson and BD person. I kind of dwindled away, but my team has killed it, and the community of people have killed it. And so now it's gone from a digital meeting every single day at 4 to a physical meeting once a month. And Katie, we went from Clueless Conversations to the Corona crew, and now we've decided that we're Katie's crew because she runs the show. And so Katie organizes an event, and I get to now just come and participate and have fun. But it's really fun because it was a bunch of digital friends. 90% of the people I had never met in person. And now I hang out with them once a month, and we do business and we transact. And it couldn't be more of a, chicken salad out of chicken something event with COVID. So.
Well, we've learned today that we need one-liners. We need to work on our one-liners. But I've been going to them. They're like great outdoor events. Excited to see what happens now that it's winter. But back to Casey Wright. He's the one that invited me on, and that's how we became friends. All right, Mr. Adam, what's a recent win you had? I mean, you did get a new job, and it sounds like you have a new company. Like, you've had a few things going on. But if you have any other wins, tell us about those now.
I mean, the biggest win is definitely being on this show right now. I mean, come on. Is there a bigger win possible? I think not. Good answer. Family Feud survey says. Bing! It's on there, but there is a number 2 answer. And that number 2 answer is probably, I hate to keep pushing this product, but I'm very passionate.
I didn't want to forget,
my position
Adam, you're our first product placement and close to 100 guests. We've actually wanted Bank of Blue Valley to give us cups, but they're so cool. They're the best sponsor ever. They're like, hey, we just want to, spread goodwill and help others. But you are the first product placement. So I don't know what that means, but other than I'm sure you've bought us drinks before, and you'll buy more of them. But what a great,
He works in a marketing agency. Don't think
I'll make sure that each of the guests gets a little taste of this Casey Mac. I'll make sure I safely and sanitarily deliver it to you in the short near future. Everyone's like, yes.
Sorry, recent win, Adam. Recent win.
Man, it's been fun to from concept to creation to like actually having our product out in the market has been really fun. You know, we're present at Hotel Kansas City that just opened up, you know, the Crossroads Hotel, you know, Barkley, a lot of different establishments that are frequented by a lot of people that are, you know, out and moving about in Kansas City area. We get to support businesses in a taxing and difficult time such as this, and also support the nonprofit, the Harmony Project Kansas City. And so from our first full month of sales, we were able to give a check to the Harmony Project just this past week. And it was just really awesome to like see the gratitude and like, you know, just to know that they're appreciative of us, you know, making a concerted effort to give back what we can to make sure the kids have what they need to be successful. And so it's just a gratifying experience to know that that check we cut to them is going to like actually have direct dividends for kids in our community to, you know, express themselves, get creative, have fun in a challenging time such as this. And, you know, for me, having left the education space, you know, in the traditional sense, it's still nice to have an avenue and a conduit to be able to give back to the education ecosystem in this way through the business with my partners and I. So that's been a recent win for me that I think is going to be ongoing as far as a win every single month. As long as y'all keep buying the product, we're going to keep getting these wins. And so that's for me what I'm really excited about.
That is awesome. I'm actually going to role reverse that on you, but real quick, I want to tell everybody to start asking questions so we can make sure. My least favorite thing is when everyone starts asking questions 10 minutes and I have to choose one question. I feel like such a bully. So Adam, can you talk about maybe something you told us before the show, a bummer that happened that you didn't get to do because of COVID?
Ooh.
You remember what you told us?
I'm sorry?
Do you remember what you told us?
I literally can't remember. What was it? There's so many bummers.
Going on a trip or?
We were talking about dating shows.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Because Aaron wants to bring up.
It's gonna be great because I now have a girlfriend, so I really don't need the show anymore.
Oh, so it was good.
He's like, abort mission, pull the eject.
Oh my God.
No. We're gonna go ahead and do it because this is kind of funny. I think in the pandemic, people started watching tons of TV, right? Everybody watches everything that's on, and you're just trying to pass the time. And so one of the shows, Guilty Pleasure, and if you say you didn't watch it, you're a liar, is Love is Blind. Like where they put the wall up and you're talking and like, I'm going to fall in love across the wall. And so I applied to the show and I didn't get it. Thanks a lot, Love is Blind. I didn't need you anyway. I found love. I'm good. Good anyway. But
you guys could have just sat on a wall. How'd you meet? How'd you guys meet?
Me and my girlfriend? We met in our apartment building, actually, if you can believe that. She's on the ninth floor.
Was she in this apartment? You talked through the wall?
Yeah, like so it's walls and floors. So it's still kind of like Love is Blind. There's still a wall between us, but also like foundation and levels and like wood and like soundproof walls. Like so it's actually more intense than Love is Blind. And we still got there.
So what floor are you guys both on? Who if there's a breakup, who has to pass who?
You know, I'm on the first floor, so I can make a quick exit out the side door if things get real bad. I switched up where I park my car as well in case like she really gets mad about something I do. She can't find where my car's at. You know what I mean? So I switched it up.
We're joking. That was my fault. Aaron, what was the dating show that you were on?
Ooh, yeah, hot seat. Put her in it. I'm going to drink.
First of all,
I knew she wanted to talk about it.
Find it because it was like in 2003 before the whatever it is, before YouTube. I was on a limo-date in Dallas. Didn't go well.
I'm actively YouTubing this right now. I'm going to find it.
It's not there. My 14-year-old can't find it.
It's
but they moved to Kansas City, and they asked me to do it another time in Kansas City. And most of my lessons I have to learn twice. That one I only had to learn once. I said no. So, yeah. Have you ever been on has anyone else ever been on a dating show on this panel? No. Okay. Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, before we get another question that's kind of, I mean, this is probably PG-13-ish, but I was always arrested for underage drinking before I was 21. And my buddies were like, dude, your criminal record has to be online. I was like, I can't find it. So I always get people in the business world that are like, hey, we do criminal background checks. And I'm like, okay, can you find mine of my underage drinking and my minor in possessions? And they can't. So I feel a little lucky like you, Aaron, with your dating show that we, there with technology today for young people, the world is at their fingertips, but there is a little bit of luck for everyone on the show because everyone here on the show is within 5 years of each other. I know how old we all are. We got lucky, man. Growing up in the 90s was a little bit of a blessing because we really, so there's pros and cons with technology. So, Aaron, I know we're ready for some more questions. Do you mind if I ask another question? So this is kind of a little off the wall type question, but Jared, when you're connecting with people, it's kind of for everyone as we go around, who's the ideal person that you want to meet for your business? So, who's the type of person you meet and you're like, oh my gosh, you just met the right person because I know a lot of things I can do to help you. And that could be multiple people for the multiple businesses that everyone does, but who is the person that they should thank their lucky stars they ran into you that you can really help?
Yeah, I think you hit on it too, though. I get to go hunting with a shotgun. I have a lot of different businesses that I feed, so I'm not really that rifled in. So it works really well. I get a lot of opportunities, but really, it's people who are willing to play the long game. We are cash flow investors and we are long-term operators. So I'm not great at brokering a big pop. I'm great at making you money over a long haul. So if you're patient, and if you are really creatively minded, there's a lot of things you can do. And there's a lot of ways that I can help you or you can help me. And what I really get excited about is when someone kind of has the same thing. I like meeting other people with a giant toolbox and a lot of energy, and we'll figure it out. In my dream situation, it doesn't even have to be real business A to A, but we can find a million reasons to talk to each other, hang out, and put
Jenna, for you, who is someone that you meet that you can help a ton, and what do they look like?
I always really enjoy meeting people that are very open to change. And what I mean by that is, things change sometimes by the minute in my world. And that's just business, I think. And here we were this year, I keep bringing up COVID and the pandemic, but we all had to change. We all had to adapt. And that's kind of a hard thing for people to do. But even being just willing to, kind of go the extra step, just be open to it, to listen to other people's ideas, that's really important. So those that are set in their ways, being a little bit more open-minded will definitely help you get to the door. And as you're looking for jobs, if you are displaced right now, just, kind of open up, you're looking online. And I think we get in that kind of in the box mentality. So just kind of broaden those horizons. That's definitely help people out. And I always enjoy meeting people that are willing to, go the extra mile.
I feel like Jenna's talking to me about my new dating life.
I might be talking about my own, actually.
I feel like I needed this show today, Jenna. Thank you.
Yeah.
Amy, for you, not dating, but talking about the perfect person, usually I think of the chief information officer, chief technology officer, or CFO. And you mentioned briefly medical, financial institution, but who's the person that's the perfect person for you to run into, and what do they look like and how you can help them?
Yeah, so CEOs are great when it comes to like healthcare or financial software companies to talk to, because we help them basically sell more of their application. They lean on us for the infrastructure part, and they can do what they're good at. And you're right, CIOs, CTOs are great to talk to at any organization level. And what was the other question that you had, Scott? Because there were a couple that you had.
I was answering it. It was,
okay.
Who do you run into? And you mentioned how you help the CEO. Mm-hmm. How do you help the CIO and the chief technology officer?
Yeah, so a lot of times they still like to have control over their servers and their IT infrastructure. And so we allow them to have control over it, and we just take care of storing it for them. So again, we kind of offset some of that responsibility just enough where they still feel comfortable. And also they can take their staff and they can actually allocate them to do something else. So it just gives them the ability to focus on more important things, like for a financial institution or a bank. everyone is more focused on digital transformation. With COVID going on right now, they can't open up their branches. And so they want to make sure that they sustain and keep their customers. And so they need to have great mobile applications that are constantly up and running. And so our network that we provide gives them 100% connectivity. And so that's what they're looking for, is leaning on us to have the internet always running and always on, so they don't have to worry about losing their members or their customers because their app has failed because of an internet failure. So those are some of the things that could go on forever. But yeah, those are the main talking points there.
So Adam, you have two different types of people you're looking for. One, I understand with your business on the distribution side to things like the Crossroads Hotel or Bar K, but I'm curious because maybe the person that you're looking to talk to is actually internal now and eventually will be external. So kind of give us both answers on terms of the perfect person you're looking to run into that you can help. And I'm more curiously interested in, the programs that you're setting up. I know you're only a week and a half in, but, kind of what are your thoughts for what you're going to structure within Barkley to help them move the ball forward?
Yeah, I really hope Jeff King is listening to this right now. He's probably like, hey, man, hope I hire the right guy for this role because he's right on air. So we'll see how this goes. No, I think it's, I think there's actually one answer that qualifies both and kind of your prompt here. For me, I'm looking for the individuals that's seeking to help others before self, that's seeking to improve and ventures to improve the quality of life and edify the quality of life for those around them. And so you think about our wine company, for example. Our moniker and our mantra is exclusively inclusive. We wanted to make a wine that everyone drinks, not just the cisgender white male, but also the Black female, the Armenian man or woman, gay, straight, fluid, whatever. If you enjoy wine and giving back to communities, then that's why we made this wine, is for you. And so it's really, it's communal. Wine is communal, literally, if you think about it, and it seeks to bring people together. And when I think about my work with Barkley, it's about creating safe, inclusive spaces for individuals, again, to be able to bring their full self to that space and really leverage their full creativity weight in a space. And so thinking through kind of those two lenses, I'm looking for someone that ventures to improve the quality of life for everyone across the board. And if I can engage with you, if you're looking for ways to give back to communities, you're somebody I want to talk to, because we don't just give back to the Harmony Project. We give back to Big Brothers Big Sisters, in which I'm a board member there, the Brand Lab, which seeks to create diverse inroads in the creative industry. I think about, museums, the art museums that we have here in Kansas City, of course, the Nelson Atkins. There's several different forms and ways that we choose to give back to the city through our wine sales. And when I think about our work with Barkley in terms of creating ad campaigns and marketing and just making sure that people feel valued and appreciated as consumers of the different products and services, we want to make sure that that's the orientation that we have as well. In terms of programs that we're creating within Barkley, it's actually been very nice that I kind of got into the space and started working with them, and they already had some really great ideas already teased out. They have 4 different components within Barkley that they deep dive into around D&I work. One of them is, of course, inclusion and belonging. Another is our work, and then another is education. So they have all these kinds of frameworks already in place that we're starting to now tease out in greater detail. We're looking at building a fellowship program, TBD on that, because that's going to be coming down the pipeline in a little bit as well. But there's a lot of creative things we're doing with book clubs that, How to Be an Anti-Racist is one of the books that our entire enterprise was required to read. And we have small group discussions that talk about that work and how that impacts the work that we do day in and day out. And so I think Barkley is really setting the pace and setting the tone around what D&I work looks like and largely white male space. You think about movies and shows like Mad Men, like that's kind of what it's looked like for a long time. And we want to make sure that's a fiction and not an expository story when it comes to this work. And so we're really putting our best foot forward in doing that.
So my business coach, this is my business coach, Mary Ricketts, seeking to help others and those around them. That's how we make changes. So I kind of want to expand on she's amazing. If you need a business coach, let me throw her back up there. Part of why I hired her is because we're a very small business, right? Like Barkley is goals. because we're in the same space, but very small business. And so some of the things that we did, we were very intentional of joining multiple chambers, including the Hispanic Chamber, the Mid-America, they've changed their name so many times, Mid-America LGBT Chamber, and multiple chambers, bringing in Mary to help us kind of understand. But what are some things, a lot of big businesses, I think, have made a lot of change in 2020 to bringing in DE&I officers or chairs, but small businesses that don't have, they don't have HR, right? Usually too. So a lot of these positions they don't have. So let's kind of go, like, at least Jenna and Adam, I want you guys to answer this. What can small businesses do to do right by both of these different aspects of the business when they don't have the funds to bring in somebody to just focus on that piece? Let's start with you, Jenna, and then we'll head up to you, Adam.
I think lots of times it kind of goes back to what we've been saying this whole time. It's just making connections. People want to do right by other people. And if someone were to reach out and they want suggestions or they need help, maybe I can't always help them, but I typically know someone that will, and I can pass that off. And sometimes out of the goodness of your heart, you can just run into the right person and they can get you on the right path. Maybe down the road, you end up doing some business or you kick something back their way. But most people, I've found that if you truly just are uneducated in that space and you don't know, and you seek that help and wisdom, people will help you.
I like it. How about you, Adam?
For me, I think it goes back to my roots. My career when I was 18 years old started in education, and I was a Spanish teacher at Kansas State University. I worked for a nonprofit called the Children's Defense Fund, Freedom Schools, and of course, Teach for America. All these different programs have been around education. For me, that is the bedrock and the cornerstone, the foundation for any growth that someone ventures to have. And so I think about the simplicity of picking up a book, such as How to Be an Anti-Racist, and reading it. Not all of it has to be like a drilled down curriculum where there's courses and modules and units, et cetera. You can take it upon yourself to pick up a book and learn from the experiences that others who maybe don't share your lines of difference have experienced in our world and in our society. And let that be like at least the start and the impetus of that. In addition to that, there are tons of D&I professionals across our community. Dion King is one that I'll give a shout out to that does fantastic work, does consulting in that regard. There's a lot of people that are easily accessible that you can pick up the phone and call or email that are willing to make space and time for you. Particularly within the Kansas City community, we're largely philanthropic in nature. I don't know what the statistic is, but I think we're one of the most philanthropic cities in America per capita. And I think people, again, back to relationship building, what you mentioned, people want to help people. And if you just reach out and ask, I promise you're going to find a hand to receive you on the other end, or at least in the COVID age, like an elbow bump, because I'm trying to get that COVID right now, but you'll get some sort of a reciprocity where someone's willing to help you out to learn more about that. But educate yourself and then seek to learn from the experiences of others as well before you start putting a ton of money into it. You can start from where you're at right now.
And then, Aaron, I'll have you ask another question, but two quick stats here that I think is really interesting is government is the #1 employer in the Kansas City Metro. We have 2.1 million people, 71,000 companies, but it's an industry. Non-for-profit is the second largest. So, and then a stat that it's kind of a gloomy stat, but I've been told it's not necessarily a bad one, which is 19% of non-for-profits in Kansas City may not make it to the end of this year. And that's from Proof Positioning. They do a wonderful job in that sector consulting. But what they were trying to explain to me is sometimes that's not necessarily a bad thing because there's a lot of overlap in non-for-profit. And so what you do is you consolidate resources and the dollars are more strategic on how they're used. So that's a double-edged sword. The second thing I wanted to talk about, which I thought was something that Aaron made sure to talk to me about, was a mistake I made, was talking to people in the diversity and inclusion consulting practice area and saying, hey, come in and talk to my company. That's not necessarily the right answer. The right answer is, hey, what does your services look like? Can you put together a proposal?
Pay them.
Correct. And so today I had a conversation with a person that runs a CEO group that wanted to bring in a diversity and inclusion consultant and talked about the compensation aspect of it. So Aaron, I don't know if you want to elaborate more on that, but I think that's something important that, we tune into shows, we learn whether it's government or non-for-profit or, having people put together a proposal, not just saying, hey, come talk to me. Tell me about your experiences. There needs to be a focused question around it. But for you, Aaron, what have you learned on that realm? And then also we have 6.5 minutes left. I want to make sure you're getting the questions if we have any more that we need to ask.
Yeah. So I want to echo that. I believe that people that are doing the amazing DE&I work, Dion being one of them, Michelle Wimes, Andrea Hendrickson, I've got a million people, Nicole Price out there. I believe that they have, to be a good business, you have to intentionally focus on this. So you intentionally focus on your finances and you pay your CPA. You intentionally focus on your marketing, hopefully, and you pay your marketing company, right? You pay your benefits. You pay all of those. I think that understanding that it's not a fad. It shouldn't be a fad for your business, that it should be something that's implemented and it should be a line item that you seriously put money to. And from my understanding, Barkley is the first agency that I know of locally that really put a seed in specifically for this. And it's huge because our agency is like even less than 10% of creative agencies are owned by women, right? So it's such a space that is a driven, old school space that we try not to get anyone else in either one of me or Scott's spaces always on this show. But I was so excited when he said you were coming on because one, Barkley is not my competitor, but two, I'm just like, they are goals for what I think agencies should turn into. So, okay, I have 2 more questions. Can you guys make it quick? Cool. Awesome. Amy, Amy, can you talk about, like I said earlier, we have a new position open and we received an insane amount of resumes, right? So there are a ton of people out there looking for positions. When you had to change positions in time of COVID, how do you keep yourself motivated to make sure that you were able to get in there without diving and drowning and getting all depressed like I feel like I might have been? How'd you keep yourself motivated?
Yeah, for me, it was, I've got this. Like I told myself the entire time that I've got this, like just staying positive and also reminding myself that I'm a big deal. Like, I think sometimes we forget that too. And so it's like whoever picks me is also going to benefit from this opportunity too. So I guess I just kind of thought that the entire time, and I wanted to make sure that I picked the right company for me too. But like you said, it's all about connections. And when you said in the beginning that you only had 2 people on LinkedIn connecting with you out of all of those, I mean, every time I had an interview, I looked to see who I was interviewing with, and I always stalked them in a non-weird way on LinkedIn and then try to connect with them. I mean, that's just what you do, right? So anyway, yeah, I would just say stay positive and just know that you're worth it too.
3 minutes.
I love that. Okay, still motivation. We're staying in motivation. Jared, same path, little bit different. You were able to keep your team super, super motivated. They are always so excited. So can you kind of talk about the tricks to that and how you keep your whole team motivated when you're dealing with what everybody's been dealing with?
Yeah, I think relationships are king. Relationships are king outside of your company and inside of your company. Treat people with respect. Do everything you can to be a caring individual first, and then you figure out how to do business together. Live your life authentically and openly, and encourage people to do the same, and make it a safe place to share that stuff. Then you're going to have, there's a million ways to stay excited. And so that's really what it's come down to. They are good friends and family. We're raising our kids together. We're hanging out with each other. I seek to cross paths with my employees and my employers and everyone else in my office as much as possible, because it makes it that much easier to dig in.
Well, it was very impressive to watch during COVID. It's still really impressive. If Jared's not in the room, they just tell you all about what Jared's up to. I like it. All right, Scott, wrap us up.
Well, we don't want to ask Jenna and Adam the question. What do you do to keep motivated? Or we already asked. They got another question. Okay, so with a minute left, I just want to make sure that we can't stress enough. This show's not possible without Bank of Blue Valley and Wendy Reynolds and her amazing team. We work with Sean and Felicia over there, but other than that, one thing, Aaron, I'll let you close for the last 30 seconds. but I was recently on a good friend of our shows, Randy Powell, and it was so shocking. I looked around the room, and everyone was just like Randy. There's someone that's always very giving and wanting to help others, and I think it's cool that our guests are very similar, but to another point that Jared hit on, that they're open. And I think that being open is huge, and maybe it's just a reflection of our generation or a reflection of who we hang out with. But I'm always so happy that all of our guests are open, wanting to give and wanting to help others. So really proud of that, and really proud of this show and the panels and friends that we hang out with. But for you, Aaron, what are your takeaway point from the show, and what do you want to wrap up with?
I'm going to wrap up with Mary Ricketts is on here again. But essentially, I want to make sure this flashes across the screen. Stephanie, I'm sorry, I forgot to say your name earlier. There's a lot of pressure, a lot of lights on me right now. It's getting a little hot in here. I turned my heater all the way up because it's like winter now. You guys know it's supposed to be 87 degrees tomorrow and the snow on Monday. It's crazy land. Anyways, here are a lot of the people that you can hire to come into your company and consult on DE&I efforts that you want to make if you cannot get somebody in full time. So just wanted to pull those names up. I want to say it was a pleasure meeting all of you all. Thank you so much for coming on. Jared, next time we see each other, let's take a picture next to each other so we can show people, because it's kind of funny. And we hope to see you soon. And hopefully when the world goes back to normal, we'll have a big in-person event with everyone that's been a guest. So looking forward to that. Thank you so much. We'll see you same time, same place next week.